This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. We're here to talk about your life and your money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Gabe starts off this hour in Minneapolis. Hi, Gabe. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking my call.
My pleasure, sir. What's up?
Yeah, so I had a question about saving in order to maintain a debt-free lifestyle. So obviously you've got an emergency fund, saving 15% towards retirement, but obviously, with, things that happen in life, you've got, a new car that will come up eventually. There could be, new tires or a house upgrade or something like that. Do you guys recommend a specific amount of, like a percentage of my monthly income that I should be saving towards those kinds of things in life so that I don't have to touch my emergency fund, so additional cash reserves beyond that?
No. What I do recommend is setting some goals periodically on those different things. Now, tires should be in your monthly budget. That would be called car repairs. Okay, but saving up to buy another car, what we would do is just be kind of watching our car and saying, okay, 3 years from now, I want to buy a car. 4 years from now, I want to buy a car.
Yep.
Which car do I want to buy? And you put that amount on it, and then you start saving that amount per month out of your budget. And that, of course, would lower the amount that makes it all the way through to baby step 6. So it would reduce how much you're paying down on your house in order to save up to buy the car. Honestly, what happens in most people's lives is that most things, with the exception of something like moving up in a house, which is a substantial thing, but even a car, something as expensive as a car, it's done in 12 to 24 months. And so from the time you look and say, I need that, because it doesn't sneak up on you that you need a new car. It doesn't. And if you want to buy a boat, It doesn't sneak up on you that you want to buy a boat. You're going to save up and pay cash for a boat. If you want to buy a lawn tractor, a couch, a stereo system for the house, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing, right? It's not going to sneak up on you. You say, okay, that's how much it is, and it's going to take me X number of months at Y number of dollars per month, and I just put it in the budget for that period of time. And those are just individual goal lines. Because the problem with having just a general, quote, savings account that does not have a mission attached to it, it tends to get blown.
Yep. Okay.
And it leaves you with that feeling of out of control, like I screwed up with my money again. Because you're just looking over there and you're going, look, we've just got a pile of money. We ought to spend it on something. And so suddenly you impulse something then that's rather large because you had that. Now, you can call it a slush fund or whatever you want to call it above your emergency fund. If you want to do that, that's okay. But, you're saying intentionally, I'm going to have this extra amount of money that's just for random things. I just want to do this bizarre, wonderful, expensive trip. I just want to do this. I want to buy a boat. I want to buy that's the second time I bought a boat in this conversation, but whatever. I mean, that kind of a thing. And so, but that's the way we do it at our house. So we don't sit down and say a set percentage. We just say we're going to buy a car, so we got to save up and pay for it. Brian is with us. Brian's in New York City. Hi, Brian. Welcome to the Ramsey Show. What's up?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Good, man. How can I help?
All right. So pretty much I'm calling because I plan on becoming a barber, but when you become a barber, a lot of the times barbers tend to be self-employed. And I want to know how I should go about handling finances and stuff because when they get their money, they handle their taxes, and I've had a W-2 the entire time I've worked. So I don't know if you guys recommend anything or what. I just want to play it safe and make sure that my new career goes smooth.
Good for you. Well, I think the key, you said you're self-employed, and we teach small business people and leaders all over America through Entree Leadership how to run and handle a business. So the basics for you would be you need to treat this like you own your own business, because you do, not only technically, but actually. And so what it amounts to is then you need to open a separate checking account for your business. All of the revenue that you create in your business should only go in that checking account first. Nothing should come out of that checking account. No checks should be written, no debit card usage for anything except business expenses. And so you every day you'd have your collections on the hair that you cut, and you make your deposits into the bank. Okay, and all of your money goes into the bank, into that checking account. And then any expenses you have, which would be clippers, scissors, equipment, cleaning gear, whatever, rent on the chair, you write a check out of that business account. Now, the definition in business of profit is revenue minus expenses.
Okay.
And so what is happening is your checking account becomes, if you're using it the way I'm teaching you, what's called cash basis accounting, meaning you've got an accounting, you've got a profit and loss statement, because all your revenue's there and all your expenses are there. And what's left in the account, by definition, is profit. Do you understand?
Yes.
Next step then is you open up a separate savings account for taxes. When you take money out of your business and you bring it home, you need to set aside a fourth of it over into taxes. So I'm going to pull $1,000 out of this account. I'm putting $250 in the tax account, and I'm putting $750 in my personal checking to buy groceries and exist with.
Okay.
Then once a quarter, you're supposed to file quarterly estimates on your taxes. You can see one of our tax ELPs for help getting that set up, but it's very easy to do. You're supposed to file an estimate of your taxes based on an estimate of your profits. So the last 3 months, how much revenue minus how much expenses did you have? What is your profit? And then you're going to have to fill out a tax form on that and send in a tax payment. Guess what? You've got the money to do that because we just set 25% over into that savings account.
Okay. Thank you. This is all really helpful. I'm 19, so I'm really excited.
You just end up withholding on yourself is what you're doing. Now, that last step of the taxes is vital, because people screw up with that, doing the type of thing you're doing more often than almost anything else, and it drives them out of the business because they say, I'll catch up on my taxes towards the end of the year, and they don't file their quarterlies, they get penalized, and then they don't have the money to file their taxes later, and they end up in debt to the IRS, which is sometimes known as the KGB. So you do not want to owe them money. This is not a place you want to be in your life. You want to make money, pay your taxes, live off the profits, and enjoy this new career of yours. So hold on, I'll send you a copy of the book EntreLeadership, which is all about running a business. And Kelly will help you get one of those. It was a #1 New York Times bestseller, by the way. Hang on, appreciate you hanging out with us. This is The Ramsey Show. Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Open phones at 888-825-5225. If you're struggling with money, it's easy to tell yourself, I'll deal with it later. I'll start fresh maybe at the new year. Because that stress can just make you go into denial mode, that fear. I don't want to face it. I know, I've been there. I know exactly how it feels. Here's the thing. It's going to catch up. So you might as well deal with it. The sooner you start, the sooner you're free. So decide right now. This is the last month I'm ever going to worry about money. If you make that decision, we want to help. And that's why for this month only, we're knocking $30 off a 12-month subscription, a 12-month membership to our most impactful and life-changing products. Financial Peace University is a part of Ramsey Plus. You want to go through the class that almost 10 million people now have been through and have had unbelievable results? Well, it's part of Ramsey Plus. You want to plug into the world's best budgeting app, the premium version of our budgeting tool. Every dollar connects to your bank, and it runs right with your debit card, and boom, you've got a system. Now you've got a way of working the plan. We're going to make it a lot easier. It's all $30 off, only $99 right now. So, and you can get a free trial to Ramsey Plus. And check out all of this. So, how do you get the free trial? You text TRIAL to 33789. Text TRIAL to 33789. Brandon's with us in Denver. Hi, Brandon. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. How can I help?
All right. So my wife and I, we're 29 years old. I'm a transitioning service member after about 8 years in the service. We're actually really excited to get back to the Knoxville area and start putting down some roots after moving around so much in the military. Mm-hmm. We've got no debt, and we have about $300,000 saved in the bank.
Wow.
We've got $23,000 accessible, penalty-free in a Roth IRA in like an absolute emergency situation, right? So my question is, we're looking to move back to Knoxville around January. Should we throw all the money on a modest house and just be done with baby step 6? Unleash our income to save and give and invest now, or should we buy kind of like more of like our forever home, get a small mortgage for something like that, something we see ourselves in for a much longer time, maybe in a better school zone, or should we do something completely different?
Okay. Well, thank you for your service. What are you going to be doing for a living?
So I'm actually looking to get into project management, that or something in supply chain management. That was my undergrad at UT. Thank you for your guest speaking at my graduation in 2014. I appreciate that.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
So you were a supply chain logistics guy coming out in then, huh? Wow, cool.
That's right.
That's fun. Well, supply chain's a great field. You should be able to land something in Knoxville. There's a lot of distribution in that area. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, another young man that walked across the stage the same time you did is a friend of my son's who walked across the stage when you did as well, the exact same stage at the exact same graduation ceremony, and he is working in supply chain at a major trucking outfit there in Knoxville. He's a friend of the family. That's how I know that. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I've got some friends of one of your sons, yeah.
Daniel, yeah. So, okay, cool. Well, yeah, you're going to land there. Number one, I got to get your income before we make a decision. But
Sure.
Let's make the assumption for purposes of your question that what would I do if I had a supply chain job, which is probably going to put you close to 100, give or take. And are you married?
I am married.
Now, does your wife work outside the home?
So she did. She had a job in IT consulting, a really good job. She's a lot smarter than me. She went to Vanderbilt, and we actually were able to just have her be a full-time mom.
Okay.
And so she's currently not working.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so we're dealing with a $100,000 income. You're 30 years old, and we've landed that job. If you've done all of that, Not counting the Roth IRA, I'm going to set an emergency fund aside, and I'm going to pay cash for a modest home. Mm-hmm. Now, $250,000 house in Knoxville, Tennessee is not bad. That's a nice house.
Sure.
It's not bad at all. And then I'm going to use your income and just systematically save and move up in home. There's no such thing as a forever home because your life changes. And nothing is forever. So, I mean, you have a set of homes when you're raising kids, when you're empty nesters, when you're grandparents, and we've moved several times in our life, and really none of them have ended up being a forever home because your life just changes. You go through seasons in your life. So, but it's you might be in this home we're talking about 5 years rather than 10, though. And you're going to use that 5 years with no house payments to save up like crazy, pay cash for the next house and move up. Meantime, you're going to become very wealthy. And you've done a great job. You've set yourself in position to do that. You can go the other route and take out a mortgage and begin to pay that down and be back at baby steps 4, 5, and 6 if you want. It's not the end of the world as long as the mortgage is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed. You're not violating what we teach. But, man, if I was 30 years old and 100% debt-free, it'd be hard to talk me into going into a debt again. House and everything. I'd be wanting to use that house payment, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and build some wealth and be generous and move up in house with all of that. Preston's with us in Arizona. Hi, Preston. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure, man. What's up?
I'm just going to preface this by coming out with my debt. I'm about $250,000 in debt right now. I did not find you until after I applied and got into medical school, and then it kind of turned into I can't pay for this unless I take out student loans. And so right now my wife is pregnant with our first little baby boy. We're super excited, but she's due in November. So I have a question about what to do leading up to that right now that I'm living off of student loans and my wife's income.
Wow. Well, congratulations on the baby. So, when will you graduate?
Next year. I should be starting my residency in 2023. And that's the other thing. I'm thinking about doing pediatrics, right? Because that's a 3-year residency. I can go right into the work field after that, make about $200,000 a year, kind of tackle this debt as quickly as possible. But if I put another 2 years into it, I can make $400,000 doing pediatric emergency medicine. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing I'm looking into. But I should start my residency with an income in 2023.
Okay. And so what does your wife make?
My wife makes about $58,000 a year.
And you guys are you're living on that, and you're paying for school with student loans, right?
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Okay. And the thing no one tells you about med school is how expensive it is outside of just tuition. Yeah. Books, question banks, everything.
Okay. Mathematically, she's going back to work after the baby comes.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. We know that for sure.
Okay. And so your student loans are just on hold until you graduate, and then you pound them with your doc income and clean up the mess you made when you get out, right? You just continue to live on her income and put your whole income towards the student loans when you do come out. Your residency income first, and then later your full income until you've cleaned up the mess. And I think you take her income now and pile up as much as we can to the side to cover for the issues with the baby and the expenses associated with the baby coming and with her being off work. I don't know whether she's got paid maternity leave or how long she's got paid maternity leave. That's where you got to land, is we got to take care of this. But just pretend like your household income's $60,000, because it is. And what are we going to do? Baby's on the way. We're going to get ready for baby and get ready for that time off, and then she's going to go back to work as soon as possible before the maternity leave runs out, for sure. for joining us, America. This is the Ramsey Show. Big week around here at Ramsey. We launched a new podcast on Monday called The Fine Print, which is what you're supposed to read before you get in trouble, right? Well, we read it for you, and George Camel and the team at Ramsey Networks have put together wonderful documentary-style investigative reporting, and there's 10 episodes on The Fine Print. The first 2 launched on Monday, and it landed as number 1 in the business section of iTunes. So a huge launch on that podcast, very well received. Lots of you have downloaded it and listened to it. We also launched Ken Coleman's new book on pre-sale. It is... From Paycheck to Purpose, The Clear Path to Doing Work You Love, finding where you are and who you are, getting plugged in, and man, it's pretty incredible. The sales on it have been awesome. It actually comes out in November, and we're pre-saling it for $20 with about $100 worth of extra bonus items. While you're at RamseySolutions.com picking that up, you can get all kinds of things there going right now. There's some free money giveaways. We're giving away $500 cash every week and a grand prize of $3,000 at the end of August, and that's no purchase necessary. Christy Wright, last week we launched her new book that comes out in September, Take Back Your Time, The Guilt-Free Guide to Life Balance. So the old Ramsey personality's been a little busy lately, getting things out, and the team around here working, and man, some good things coming out of our team right now on content to help you guys and to help you transform your lives and balance your lives, and it's a really neat place. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Donnie is with us in Dayton, Ohio. Hi, Donnie. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
The situation, my wife and I, unfortunately, her father passed away, and he left us a large sum of inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
We have paid off all the bills, paid off all the house, and we have about $200,000 left over,
mm-hmm.
and we're not quite sure what to do with that money.
Wow. Well, good for you for asking the question. Here's the thing. Money that you do not give an assignment to, so your question is very wise, money that you do not give an assignment to leaves, and then you wonder where it went. And so somewhere deep down you knew that, and that's why you're asking this, is very wise. Yeah. So what I'm going to tell you to do more than anything is whatever you do with this money, go ahead and do it on paper on purpose and make a plan for it. Just have a mission for the money. There's 3 things you ought to do with money as you build wealth and as you inherit wealth. And in your case, you've inherited wealth. Number 1 thing you ought, and this includes your budget, which ought to have a lot of money in it now too, given you don't have a house payment, right?
Correct.
So what I want you to do with both things of money is to do 3 things with them and assign the dollars to these 3 things. Generosity. Okay. Be giving money. Always be giving money. Intentionally. Saving and investing. Always be saving and investing. Intentionally. And enjoying. You should always be enjoying some of the money. And so you could take the $200,000, for instance, and say, we're going to spend $50,000 and create a memorial for her father by giving money to the college he went to and having a scholarship fund. I just made that up. I don't care. Okay. But
okay.
You're going to do something that's fun, and it doesn't seem like, it could be $10,000. It could be $5,000. I don't care. It's your money. But I want you to put some amount of money to go to some kind of generosity or kinds of generosity. Same thing with investing. We're going to take X number of dollars and we're going to buy a paid-for rental property, or we're going to take X number of dollars, we're going to put it in mutual funds. And then the third thing is there's a couple of items that we always wanted, and we're going to buy them or do this trip that we've always wanted to do that makes us smile when we think about it. And that's called blowing money. And that's okay. But we're not going to blow $199,000 out of $200 and invest $500 and give $500. Obviously, that's absurd. Okay? But guys like you that ask that kind of question don't do that kind of stuff anyway, so you're not that guy. But
Right.
the point being, there's not a set ratio, but when you put it down and you say, oh man, if we blew that much, I'd feel weird about it. Well, then you about reached your limit on how much you're going to spend on lifestyle. But maybe you're going to buy a nice car, or maybe you're going to buy I don't care, whatever your thingy is that you want to buy. And then, how much do we want to invest? Well, we put so much in investments, it doesn't feel like we're very generous. Well, then you need to back it down a little bit. So the three things should balance each other out. And it should kind of make you, a little bit nervous if you're pushing one of those to the edge. You'll kind of know what your values are. Especially the two of you talk about it. Here'd be an interesting exercise, too, for your marriage. And you say, okay, we have to write down an amount that we're going to be generous with and then tell the other one what it was. I mean, the amount that we're going to do all three. I'm going to put X to generosity, Y to investing, and Z to lifestyle blowing. And each of you put down a number that adds up to $200,000, and then compare what your notes were and see how close you were to each other, you and your wife.
Right.
That'd be a fun game one night, So just
that would be a very fun game.
Yeah, but it's a good starting place for the conversation, and go, okay, why so much on the generosity, or why are you so chinchy? You don't want to give anything away. It's a good conversation. Sharon and I do it a lot because we get a check from a publisher or a check from this or that, and we already have our lifestyle covered, and so when we get extra money in, half of it goes to taxes and tithe. And then the other half we have to set aside for generosity and for increased, even more generosity than tithe. And we enjoy some of it. And, of course, we continue to invest in for the purposes of more generosity and the purposes of more enjoyment. And for the purposes of changing our family tree. So there's not an exact right or wrong formula. The thing is, you ought to have a good amount on each of those three, and it ought to make you feel right when you look at the number. And your house will be different than mine on what feels right. Dwayne is with us in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Dwayne. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. A pleasure to talk to you, and I appreciate your advice. So we have a mortgage right now, FHA mortgage, that has mortgage insurance for the life of the loan, and I think it's about $150 a month or something like that. We're looking to refinance. The current rate we have is 3.75. Not sure what the new rate would be, but what the person wanted to do was roll our car payment and our highest credit card into a cash out refinance.
Of course I did.
And then we wanted, my wife really doesn't want to do that.
Good.
Doesn't want to pay for that over the life of the loan. So just really seeking your advice. What should we do as far as a refinance, or should we just refinance to get rid of the mortgage insurance?
Yeah. Asking a mortgage person if you need a bigger mortgage is like asking a dog if it's hungry, because he gets paid on the amount of the mortgage.
Right.
That's how he gets paid. So the underwriter fee, and that's what, no, we're going to pay off your other debts using the debt snowball. What's your household income?
Right now about $200,000 with my wife and myself.
Excellent. And how much debt do you have that's not mortgage?
That is not mortgage. Probably about, all in all, with a couple of student loans we've done for the kid, probably about $80,000 or $90,000.
Okay, you make too much money to have that debt. You need to get that cleaned up. That's just sloppy.
Right.
And that's what you need to do instead of borrowing your way out of.
I was out of work for 10 months, and she was out of work for 4 years.
Yeah, you
so
make $200,000 a year. You got $80,000 in debt. You don't need to be doing that. You need to clean that up now, and get that mess cleaned up as soon as you can. And you don't need to borrow your way out of debt. By the way, obviously you can't do that. So people try all the time. Hang on, I'm going to send you a copy of the book, The Total Money Makeover, to show you exactly how to do what we're talking about here, brother. You a new listener. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ed is with us in Pensacola, Florida. Hi, Ed. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good. How can I help?
Dave, my question is about the last couple of days, the Center for Disease Control, extending the moratorium on evictions. And, I was listening to the news, and normally the news guy, he's pretty good, but he was kind of inflammatory, I guess, yesterday evening, or saying that this is leading toward the government trying to seize your property. Are you any kind of worried about that?
No.
Okay.
There's too many guns in America. They're not seizing our property. It's okay. You're going to be fine.
Oh.
It's not going to happen.
All right.
No, we're not. That's not going to happen. That's just people carrying on the news. And let me add to that the CDC does not have the power to enforce the moratorium. It is a suggested moratorium. There are no federal laws that allow the federal government to interfere in individual property rights state by state. The only thing they can do is go through any federal programs that are there to enforce them. Now, they can enforce them on federally funded tenants and things like that, but they cannot enforce that. So the CDC is a suggested moratorium, and it's up to Florida as to whether they enforce it or not as a state. The state of Tennessee has not enforced it. We had a short period of time in the state of Tennessee last summer where the local Supreme Court made a ruling that there was a temporary moratorium for 2 months at the height of COVID last summer on evictions. And I actually had one eviction on one of our properties pending during that time. I had a moron that was beating his wife, and she left, and we were trying to throw him out because obviously we don't do business with twerps like that. And we couldn't get him out for that 2 months. But once the 2-month eviction, there was an injunction against evictions in the state of Tennessee for that period of time. Now, I do not know state by state who currently has an eviction moratorium or an eviction injunction placed. And I would be shocked to hear that in DeSantis's Florida that there is one. But I don't think you've got one in place there. You can check with a local attorney if you want that does your evictions and ask and find out what's really going on. Because what controls property rights is not federal law, it's state law. And so that's the point of the discussion. So the CDC does not have the power to do that under law. And so their moratorium is more of a suggestion, just like they're suggesting people wear masks. And I'm looking in the lobby at 60 people, none of which have a mask on. So that's how much we care about the CDC, right? So, and so that, it's just, it's a matter of we've all kind of gotten disgusted with these twerps, and they're throwing their power around all over the place, and it doesn't work. Now, but they can do a lot of things locally. If the local legislature passes it, your state legislature passes it, now you've got property right issues. But for instance, I'll give you another example, Ed. The right of eminent domain, where the government takes property for the good of the community. For instance, a highway is coming through and they take a piece of your daddy's farm or whatever. They take that house or something like that because of the highway rights. That's eminent domain. That is all state law. It is not federal law. So were you to argue with the municipality that was doing that or the state that was doing that, you would argue that in state court, not federal court. And so, because all private property rights issues are not federal. And so that's where stuff like executive orders coming out of D.C. Sometimes don't have any teeth in them. They're more of a mere suggestion, which is really what the CDC's thing is here. So you look it up. I'm not an attorney. I got a whole bunch of real estate, though, and I'm zero worried about this in the state of Tennessee. Now, if I lived in New York City, I'd be real worried about it because apparently they're taking over everything up there. I don't know what they're doing, but lost their dadgum minds. But all of us living in these in-between states where mostly sanity is still existing, we're not seeing that kind of thing. And I think you're right. I think your news guy was inflammatory. All right, up next is going to be Karen in Montgomery, Alabama. Hi, Karen. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I bought a house about at the end of 2015, and when I was still in the military. And since then, I have moved, and I have been renting the house out, and it's in pretty bad shape, and I'm trying currently to sell it to an investor.
Good.
It appears that may fall through, and it also appears that my tenants are moving.
That's good news, because they'll be out of the way now. You can get it sold.
Yeah. So it won't
Where is the
qualify
house?
for a regular loan.
Where's the house?
It's in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. All right. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Augusta, Georgia. Jump online at Dave Ramsey or at RamseySolutions.com and click on ELP for real estate and find a real estate agent in that area that we recommend. Contact them and have them go by and look at it so that if your deal does fall through, you have a real estate agent that can get it moved. You're probably going to have to about give it away, but you can get rid of it.
Yeah, I actually I started by doing that. And
is that who you're dealing with?
The realtor was. I actually just got a phone call from an investment company about it.
Okay.
So that kind of seemed to just work out. But the realtor said that because of the condition that it's in, it will not qualify for any type of mortgage.
Right. So they got to sell it to an investor.
Right. So I'm just not sure.
That doesn't matter.
What to do because
just sell it
if
to an
they
investor.
Move out,
tell the real estate agent to list it for investor sale. You don't have the money to fix it up, and you need to unload it.
Yes.
What do you think it's worth as it is junked out as it is today? What's this investor offering you?
The proposal they offered was $94,000.
Okay, what do you owe?
I owe $85,000.
Okay, good. You're out. And if it was all fixed up, it'd be $150,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So somebody will pay $90,000 for it, or $85,000 for it, or whatever. They'll take it out, take you out of it, which is really all you want at this point.
Yes.
Heck with the cheese. I just want out of the trap.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if I should, because if they move out, I don't think there's any way that I can afford to continue to pay the mortgage.
Well, here's the thing. It'll take 6 to 12 months to get around to a foreclosure.
Okay.
And so during that time, you give the stupid house away.
Okay.
Right? So, get that real estate agent back on the phone, tell them you talked to me, and I said list it for investor money only, a bargain at, 65% of value, needs repairs, cash only sale. Right?
Right.
And get rid of the stinking thing. But, and you need to probably go ahead and do that right now because this investor has not come through yet.
Right.
And if you want to put an exception in the listing for the investor, that's fine. Probably a good idea. That way, if he does come to the table. But some of those guys just run around screwing with stuff and don't actually ever do deals. They just learn something in a seminar to go tie up people's houses. So you need somebody to write a $90,000 check.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're out there, and this real estate market's hotter than a firecracker, kiddo. It's a great time to get out of any kind of property, particularly weird stuff that's messed up like this one is. So you're in a good position. But if that ELP that you got a hold of doesn't know how to do that, get to a different ELP. We have more than one in Augusta, Georgia. I know that. And get one of them that'll help you get it listed and get it sold as is. Because it's an as is, where is deal. You don't need a home inspection. We know it's busted. We know it doesn't work. This is The Ramsey Show.
This is James Childs, producer of The Ramsey Show. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Subscribe or follow today wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. It is a free call at 888-825-5225 as we talk to you about your dollars and cents. Common sense for your dollars and cents. Common sense is so rare in America today that if you have it, it's like having a superpower. Lorena is with us in Canada. Hi, Lorena. How are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, I just finished reading the Total Money Makeover.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question regarding what I should pay off. My only debt other than my $99,000 mortgage is a $5,200 line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, do I use my tax-free savings account, which is $6,700, to pay that off? Or do I increase my biweekly line of credit payment to $200 biweekly and get that paid off in a year?
What do you make?
Gross or net?
Gross.
Gross is $79,000 and $52,000 after taxes and deductions.
So you have a tax-free savings account. Are you talking about a retirement account?
Tax-free savings account is the equivalent of your Roth IRAs.
Oh, you're in Canada. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, we don't cash out retirement accounts to pay off debt unless it is to avoid a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, and you're not facing either. So what we would tell you to do, though, is $5,000 worth of debt should not take a year to pay off, making $80,000. I mean, you got to do that in like 3 months.
Yeah, because if I
just tighten up the old budget here, tighten up the old belt, get lean down on that budget, and let's put about, what are we putting, $5 or a couple grand a month, a little less on that, and you're done. And that's tight, but you're done in 3 months. That's what 4 months max, something like that. But it shouldn't take a year. We don't want to wander out of debt. We want to punch it in the nose as fast as we can. Mallory's with us in Los Angeles. Hi, Mallory. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my father is dating a woman in Ukraine who's about half his age. They've been dating 3 years now. But it's gone to the point that he's spending his money recklessly on her. And he lost his job during COVID. Now he's working as a driver, and I'm just really concerned for his financial safety. He just bought her a new car in Ukraine. He's been paying for her rent, giving her a monthly income. And I need some advice on how to address the situation and help him, because I'm really concerned at this point.
How old is he?
He's 56. And she's about 32.
And you are how old?
I'm 25.
Okay. Well, I'm with you. I mean, this does not sound good. So how many times has he actually been in the presence of this woman?
I would say about 3 times a year. Usually they meet abroad on vacation together, but he pays for that trip, obviously, himself. But I wasn't so concerned about it at first. I really thought, it's just going to be a short relationship. He's going to wake up soon. But
where's your mom?
They're divorced. She's still.
How long have they been divorced?
Oh, about 5 years now.
Okay. Right.
But they're still good friends.
Yeah. He just lonely and got stupid.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you think he's getting conned, and so do I. I mean, this is like a mail-order Russian bride stereotype thing or something. This is like something you read about, right?
It is.
Only it's really your dad.
We've gone to the situation where it's real in his mind, and I don't want to damage our relationship at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to support him. But at this point now, he just bought a new car.
That's danger, Will Robbins. Yeah, I mean, this is like signals, flares going off everywhere. I'm with you. There's all kinds of signals here. This doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I mean, is every woman from the Ukraine evil? No, that's not what I'm saying. But there's a classic mail-order Russian bride scam that's been going around for 1,000 years, you know? I mean, it's a classic. So, well, here's the problem. Once someone has powdered your butt, they don't want your opinion about money or sex.
Right.
So you have powdered butt syndrome. It's hard for parents to listen to their 25-year-old kids. Even when the parent is going nutty, like your dad is, okay? So that's the uphill battle you've got. So, in other words, if he was doing cocaine and you walked in there and started, you know, trying to be his mother and say, you're not doing cocaine anymore, you're killing yourself, Dad, I love you, this is stupid, you have to stop, he's probably going to toss you out on your ear. You don't have position of credibility in his mind to tell him what to do, right?
Correct.
Who does? Pastor, brother, uncle, friend?
No. Everyone in his life has told him that he's making a mistake, and he's just starting to push them away, which is why I've taken the position of trying to be supportive. But
no, it's not. No, when you support stupidity and harmful things, you're causing them to occur. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want him to be under the illusion you think this is a good idea. But you don't have to be nasty about it and cut off relationship. But, you know, so I don't know. You know, you could talk to a family therapist and get some input that's better than mine probably. I'm not one, but sadly I've ended up working in these things a bunch of times over the years as a financial coach, and so I end up right in the middle of it, and so I end up with people like Dr. John Deloney breathing down my neck telling me what to say. So, you know, it probably, what you don't want to do is sever the relationship, but you have a moral obligation, a love obligation to your father to give him the warning.
Absolutely, I want him to be set up.
If he chooses to continue or chooses to separate from anyone who dares question his wisdom, then that's just on him. You can't make people do that. But listen, you know, I don't even know you, and you called here, and I love you enough to tell you the truth. I'm gonna, you know, I'm not. If you hear me do it all the time to people, right? And it's not for the entertainment value. It's because I want them to go win. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna participate in their crazy. And so that's what you got to do. You just got to sit down and go, Dad, I love you. This is scaring me. It's got all kinds of red flags around it. My spidey sense is going crazy. And I'm afraid for you, Dad. I think this is a bad thing. But no matter what you do, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be your daughter, and I'm always going to love you. But you need to hear from me that out of love, I think you're getting messed over. And I don't think this is going to end well. And I think you really need to get this. I think you really look at this with a solid set of eyes. A simple conversation in person like that, that's an act of love, is necessary in this situation. However, I don't think it's going to work. You're going to have to watch him crash and burn because he's not going to listen to you. But you are obligated to tell him that. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. No parent ever wants their child to experience the panic of being unprepared for an emergency. But teaching your teens how to be smart with money can be a really big job. Well, we got your back. With our digital self-study courses for teens, you can rest assured that your teen will know the right way to handle money, no matter what curveballs life may throw them down the road. And the best part, there's no instructor needed. If your teen has a tablet or a computer, they're all set. Text self-study to 33789. And you can learn more about all the different courses we have for your middle schooler, your high schooler, either one. Text self-study to 33789. Our question of the day comes from a great American company, Blinds.com, the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal. Olivia is in Missouri. I'm 18 years old. I live at home with my parents, who I highly respect. They convinced me to get a credit card for purchases and to pay it off every month to build my credit score. Not only that, but they got rid of their own debit card because they believe that credit cards are more protected against fraud. Having listened to your show every day, I disagree with them, and I want to get rid of my credit card. I would like advice on how to get rid of it without upsetting them. If I do get rid of it, how do I buy a house without a credit score? Well, I don't know how to control whether your parents get upset or not. One thing that would involve would be how you approach this subject. And number one, are you obligated to discuss this with them? If you're 18 years old, if you feel obligated to discuss this with them, you can share with them some of the YouTube videos of me talking about this. The debit card has the exact same fraud protections as a credit card does. And so they're wrong. I got rid of my debit card because it doesn't protect fraud. It has the exact same protections for fraud that a credit card does. The exact same protections under Visa or MasterCard products, either one. So that's just a complete misnomer. In other words, it's false, it's a lie, it's mythology. So they're operating with bad information. If you were to get rid of the credit card and get a debit card, you are not exposed to fraud any more than they are. Now, everybody in our world today is exposed to fraud, but you have Visa and MasterCard both have a zero liability policy for fraud. They do not charge you for fraud. It's that simple, period. Now, if that upsets them, I can't control whether your parents are upset or not, just like I can't control whether or not they're wrong about something. So you just need to be kind and respectful, and like you have been, it sounds like you're a respectful young lady. And you can decide to deal with this after you move out, or you can decide to deal with it head on while you're there, gently, and just go, Mom, Dad, I've looked at this, and this is what I understand to be true, and I'm sorry, but I think you got some wrong information, and so I'll be getting a debit card and getting rid of my credit card. Now, as far as a mortgage goes, here's the core issue, Olivia, that you're asking. Is the credit score necessary to have a quality life? That's really what you're asking down in this question. Do we have to worship at the altar of the great FICO because the great FICO is the provider of all good things? Oh, great FICO, thank you. We bring you offerings of interest and payments so that you raise our score due to our worship of you, and then you give us more debt. Because let's think about this. How do you work on your FICO score? How do you work on your credit score? There's only one way to do it. Borrow money. 100% of the algorithm variables that Fair Isaac uses to create your FICO score have to do with your interaction with debt. So when you quit having any interaction with debt, your FICO score, your credit score disappears, because it is just that. It is a credit score. A score of you dealing with credit. When you quit dealing with credit, you wouldn't have the score anymore. So mine is 0, and I have a pretty good life. I have a very good life. But I don't take any offerings to the great FICO. So how do you build your credit score? You go into debt, and you pay payments so that your credit score goes up, so that you can go into debt and pay payments so that your credit score goes up, so that you can go into debt and pay payments so that your credit score goes up. It sounds like a good plan if you're a bank, but it doesn't sound like a good plan if it's you. Yeah, but I might not be able to rent an apartment. Yes, you can. Check out YouTube. Anthony O'Neill's on there talking about it. He's got a beautiful YouTube video on there, and he calls like 25 different apartment complexes, and only one would not rent to him without a credit score. He just called up and said, "Hey, I'm moving to Nashville. Can I rent there?" "Yeah, what's the deposit?" I don't have a credit score because I'm just moving out of my parents' house." Every one of them but one would rent to him. So this idea that an apartment won't rent to you without a credit score is absolute hogwash. It's a lie. You can't get a mortgage without a credit score. Yes, you can. It's called manual underwriting, called Churchill Mortgage. And now you have to have 0 credit score, none. And you have to have proof of income. And you have to have a down payment and have like a job and stuff, which you would like to want to have anyway to get a mortgage. And so you do not have to build your credit score to get a mortgage. That's a lie. Well, you have to have a credit score to get a car loan. Maybe, but you shouldn't be getting a car loan if you want to be rich. You have to have a credit score to... Hey, dude, listen. I haven't had a credit score in 30 years. And I'm a multi-millionaire. And one of the reasons I'm a multimillionaire is I have not taken any offerings of interest to the great FICO. I have not participated in buying bank furniture for the bank. I have not participated in paying Lexus Motor Credit, Chrysler Motor Credit, Toyota Motor Credit, General Motors Credit, Ford Motor Credit, American Distress or Discovered Bondage. I have not followed any of the stupid debt tricks that most Americans who are broke and have no money follow. Consequently, all the money that we made, the only thing that came out of it was taxes, and I had the rest of it to be generous with and to build wealth with, and I became wealthy again. Many times over. And you can too. So this idea that you have to build your credit score to have a quality life in America is absolutely a lie. Now, what you do have to do is buy things you can afford and pay cash for them. Now, Olivia, you're just going to have to be kind to your parents and respectful to your parents, and I don't know what you'll do. You're 18. You've got time. Don't worry about it. But if I were you, I would get rid of the debit card, get a credit card, tell mom and dad, I'm sorry. I know we don't agree about this. I still love you. But if you're going to have to manage every item of my business for me to live here, then that means I can't live here. That means it starts to be time for you to leave, because that's a level of control that's not okay. Now, if they're paying for all your bills, then they get to decide, but they're not paying all your bills. So anyway, that's a case where the parents are normal, the parents are making a mess, the parents are believing a lie, and now they're infecting their own children with this crap. So maddening. Again, let me restate. 100% of the variables that create the algorithm, mathematical formula that dictates your FICO score have to do with you interfacing with credit. It is not, the FICO score is not a measure of how good you're doing with money. It's not a measure of net worth. It's not a measure of your income. Your boss can walk in today and give you $1 million a year raise. It won't change your FICO score 1 ounce because it has nothing to do with debt. FICO score is 100% to do with debt. This is The Ramsey Show. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Garrett and Christina are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Pretty good. Great. How about you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. Where do y'all live?
We're from the state of Washington.
Awesome. Welcome to Nashville. And all the way here to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
$125,323.
All right. And how long did that take you?
About 17 months.
Whoa! And your range of income during that time?
$170,000 to $205,000.
Awesome. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a journeyman lineman.
And I'm an adult felony probation and parole officer.
Okay, cool. So you guys put in some hours then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that journeyman lineman thing, you make some money, but you're getting after it.
Yeah, 40-hour shifts and 18 hours a day during storm season.
Phenomenal. All right, so what kind of debt was the $125,000?
We had $7,000 on credit cards, $24,000 on vehicles, and $94,000 on our mortgage.
You paid off your house.
We did.
Yep.
Looking at weird people.
Yep.
I love it. How old are you two?
I'm 26 and she's 23.
Wow, and a paid-for house. What's this house worth?
Well, with today's market, probably $300,000.
At 26 and 23 years old. I love this. You guys are amazing. Wow. Okay, tell me the story. What happened that got you guys so on beat here and fired up?
Well, it kind of all started. I was just out with my dad. He always listens to AM radio. I hadn't even heard about you, and your show came on the radio, and I've always kind of believed in the debt-free lifestyle, but didn't know you existed, and just started listening to your show. And after about 2 days of listening to the podcast, I went down to the bank that day, paid off my credit cards, cut them up, and paid my car off too. And
wow!
And
wait a minute, did you talk to Christina about this?
We just got married a month ago.
Oh, okay.
I actually,
okay.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, I actually mentioned to her, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this Dave thing, and next thing I know, she's like selling all sorts of stuff on Craigslist, and she didn't even tell me, but she started doing it too. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so wow. I paid off my car before we got married, and all we had left by the time we got married was the house. And I had bought my house when I was 20 and was able to resell it for a pretty good profit. Since we decided to keep his house, and was able to take the proceeds from that sale and pay off our house now.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you guys were pretty well in control. I mean, you were a little bit normal. You had credit card and car and that kind of stuff. But you'd also been doing pretty smart stuff at a young age, and like buying houses and that kind of stuff. And so, boom, you were able to roll all that together and create a really great story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well done. I mean, you had money in the bank to just go down and pay the stuff off, right?
Yeah, I did. I was just I was living. I just didn't have a purpose behind it. And that's one of the big reasons I started following. Is like, lots of little charges. You don't realize how fast they add up. And I just want to make a quick mention how important the emergency fund is. During my journey on this, I sustained a back injury at work, and I was off work for 3 months without pay. But I had the emergency fund, and so I was able to just focus on getting better and didn't have to worry about money during that time.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So you're okay now?
Yep, healed and back to climbing poles.
All right. Good for you, man. Good for you. So you guys are making great money between the two of you. You're 23, 26 with a paid-for house, married a whole month. Wow. Okay, so it's not like you had this long, drawn-out journey. I mean, you made like 3 moves here and then knocked it out, right? And finished it off in terms of the marriage and everything else. So what do you guys think the key to getting out of debt is?
Definitely budgeting is huge. Like I said before I started following the plan, I would look at my bank statement, and it's like I would always tell myself, I'll start saving for this when I make a little more money. But it's like you got to take charge, start budgeting, and your little charges add up more than you think they do. So you got to live with a plan to make a plan.
Yeah, I hadn't budgeted ever in my life, and then started making my budget. And at the time, I thought I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I definitely felt like I got a huge raise once I started budgeting and was like, oh, I'm spending a whole lot in this category when it should either be not being spent or be spent somewhere else. And so it was easy. I was only making $50,000 at the time and paid off my vehicle very quickly because I was budgeting. I didn't really even realize I had this extra money sitting in there.
Have y'all had time to even sit down and do the math that makes making $200,000 a year at 23, 26, how rich you're going to be.
We just kind of started. Our minds are kind of blown.
It's millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. If you just pay yourself a house payment for the rest of your life, if that's all you do, that's probably close to $10 million.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Our SmartVestor Pro has been pretty impressed. He definitely had some wide eyes once we told him the house was paid off. And he's listening today, I think, too.
That's awesome. Yeah. He's like, oh, I wish I could get every 23, 26-year-old in the office to do this. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Because he knows how that compound interest is going to work for you, compound growth on those mutual funds and buying other things, and the level of generosity you're going to be able to have, and just the level of choices that you've got in your life already.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You guys have done an amazing job. Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
I would definitely say each other. We kind of, at the start, before we were married, we kept our finances separate, but we cheered each other on, and she would text me during the day like, hey, thinking about going out and getting lunch at work today, and I'd be like, well, I'm debt-free, just wait till the week and I'll take you out to dinner this weekend. And we just kept each other in check, and just having that accountability partner is huge.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Both of our families are pretty supportive, but we've definitely kind of started making our own path in a new family legacy.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely impressive. What was the hardest part for y'all?
I'm the spender. So for me, I was in baby step 2 a lot. I mean, he was in baby step 2 for a day until he paid off his car. Yeah. And it took me about 8 months. And so for me, it was just not spending money on like small little things like my dog. I want to go spoil my dog and go buy her toys all the time, or eating out. Just the convenience of that was the difficult part of like, okay, I used to be able to or want to do this all the time, and I wanted to do it, but I knew I didn't need to do it.
Yeah.
And so kind of refocusing and really imagining what life is going to be like after the vehicle was paid off, and knowing that we were getting married eventually, and now we're actually married was a cool goal of we want to be on the same page when that does come around. And
absolutely.
Now we're here.
Yeah. How's it feel now that you're 100% free?
It's amazing. I can't even explain in words. It's like the options in life are endless when you don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah. House projects are a lot more fun now too.
Everything is. We just look down and go, I need a little money for that. Okay, let's put it in the budget. Yeah, there's plenty of room. You got some big thing planned to celebrate that you're going to do or buy?
We're coming here.
Oh, okay.
Do our debt-free scream and we're going to be building an addition on a house pretty quick, so I'm just saving up to cash flow that.
And then buying a boat. After that.
Yeah, okay. Good. Well, you ought to be. That's very well done. You're going to be in great shape. You're already in great shape, but you're going to be in amazing shape. This is what a story. What a wonderful story. Very well done. Well, we've got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story to move on to Baby Steps Millionaire, Everyday Millionaire status. You'll be there if you're not already pretty quick. And, man, you got a great start. 23, 26 years old, paid for house worth $300, paid for everything. Wow. Married a whole month. Wow. Amazing. And also a copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give to somebody, because you can't help but talk about this stuff, and that'll give them a track that they can run on and go join you in this quest and in this journey. Very well done. Garrett and Christina, Olympia, Washington, $125,000 paid off in 17 months, making $170 to $205. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free!
Yeah! It's hard to explain how rich they're going to be. Those two. Oh, man. Yeah, paid for $300,000 house at 26 years old. Journeyman lineman, not $300,000 in student loan debt at 26 years old, but I have a PhD. Yeah. I think he made the right choice, boys and girls. This is The Ramsey Show. Thanks for joining us, America. This is The Ramsey Show. Kevin is with us in Spokane, Washington. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Well, I've been reviewing the beneficiary status on some of my accounts and things, HSAs and retirement. And so my wife and I have 5 kids, and I'm wondering, they all ask for a secondary beneficiary. Mm-hmm. At what point does it make more sense to try and set up a trust now in the event that it was needed, in the event both my wife and I, something happened to us, or should I just break it out percentage-wise per kid on the secondary thing? It just seems to get a little complicated. I'm wondering when it would streamline that.
Yeah. How old are the kids?
They're all teenagers on down, so they're young.
They're minors. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we did at that age was we made the secondary beneficiary the family trust, and the family trust would be formed, or the children's trust, whatever you wanted to call it, the your last name, so-and-so children's trust. That's formed upon your death as an action of your will. Your will says upon both of you dying that this trust is formed for your minor children. And then you can put all kinds of things into that trust, right? You can dump.
Okay.
But the purpose of that trust is to manage all of the assets, basically, for the good of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, and the trustee of the trust their job is if you do the trust well, is to execute what the trust says to do. They're not allowed to do anything else with that money. Typically, I want the guardian of the children to be a different person than the trustee.
Yeah, currently is right now for us.
Okay.
So.
And then what we had in our children's trust, again, it never activated because our children grew up, and we did away with that portion of our estate plan because now it's just left to adult kids in a different setting, right? In a much more complicated estate plan these days. But point being that once they're all grown, you don't have to do that anymore. So, but we left it, all assets were to be funneled into that for the good of those kids. Now, out of that then, we dictated, for instance, that a monthly amount off of the returns of the investments, the money's liquidated, put into investments across 4 types of growth stock mutual funds, like I teach, growth and income, aggressive growth and international, working with the Smart Investor Pro. That's how ours read. And the monthly income off of that up to a certain amount would go to the guardian for the care of the children, effectively child support, right? And so we want to make sure that much money is coming out of the income. Any other amount would just continue to grow the wealth. They can't really touch the money for anything else except maybe to buy a car when they turn 16, college education, major medical event, if some money was needed because one of them had that, we can use the money for that. And then as they graduate from college, you can distribute the money to them. You can actually distribute it to them at 18 or 21, either way, but ours was it just when they graduated from college, they got their share of the trust. We didn't keep it in the trust until they were 30, so you can do that if you want. You can give half of it at graduation, half of it at 30, or however you want to dictate it. But that's the kinds of things you can put into that trust then. But the whole point being, we're going to just throw all the money in a pile, and the income off of that takes care of those kids.
Right. So on all the accounts and everything, you just list the trust as a secondary beneficiary.
Exactly.
And within the will, you figure out how to deal with it all. Right. You don't try and do that on every account.
Exactly. Within the will, you form and the trust is not even formed until both of you die.
Right.
Or unless both of you die. And so that trust that I was mentioning earlier, we detailed it all out, but it was never formed. It ended up going in the trash basket. Because our kids are grown now, and so our old estate plan is predicated on grown people, not minors that must be taken care of, and so it's a different process now, and so but you still need to do it. You still need to get it all laid out in case something happens to both you and your spouse, and that's a beautiful thing you're doing right there. Very, very smart. Art is with us in Baltimore, Maryland. Hi, Art. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I am interested in your perspective as a Christian businessman and landlord. I have about 50 tenants whose rent I have not increased in between 2 and 4 years. I'm contemplating raising their rents 5 to 8%, which would still put them at 5 to 10% below the rents that my new market rate tenants are coming in at. And I was kind of curious, given the last 18 months, whether that was just a tone-deaf move or whether it made sense. So that's my question for you.
I don't know why it is Christian to not charge market value for rent. Why is that Why is that a Christian concern?
No, I just wasn't saying it was necessarily Christian. I was just kind of curious as to whether it was charitable, if you will, to keep people's rents a little bit low because of the challenges we've had over the last year and a half.
Yeah. No, what we have done is we've been charitable with people who fell on hard times.
Sure.
In individual case-by-case situations. And I've got commercial property and I've got residential property. And, we had one guy in residential that lost his job because of COVID. Well, we didn't come down on him like we would have in another time, We just said, hey, we're going to give you some grace, some mercy, and you can't live here 2 years free. You got to go get a job. Because you're going to pay rent somewhere, right? But we're not going to just, we're going to give you a little wiggle room here, and then, the back rent that you can't pay right now, we'll work it out. You can pay it a little bit at a time and catch up, right? And so we did that. We actually did that with we have a workout facility, a gym in one of our commercial properties. Obviously, it was shut down, and the guy's a small business guy, and so we just said, okay, we're not gonna. We're just going to let the rent pile up, and you can catch up later, and we'll work out a catch-up schedule. We didn't forgive it, but we just didn't muscle him, And so, and that was just an act of compassion. It's also not a bad business move because, by the way, if you throw them out, you got to put somebody else in there in the middle of this environment. So, but we keep our rents at market across the board, and then on a case-by-case basis where we run into a situation, whether it's COVID-related or just an individual situation. We had a tenant one time who the dad was the sole provider, and he got terminal cancer. So, and I'm not the kind of guy who puts that family in the street. Right.
Yeah, I've been there as well on that one.
So you work with them, and I don't want to be played, and I don't want to be conned, but and sometimes people will try that stuff. You probably experienced that as well. But on the other hand, the good news is I don't have any debt on this, so I don't have to collect the rent to eat. And because I'm collecting market rent on everything else, it gives me lots of margin to be able to be merciful over here on the other side. So we keep all of our properties at market as best we can, as close as we can within reason. We don't overcharge, we don't undercharge. It's not greed-driven. It's just a matter of being a good steward, a good manager of the assets that God has given us to manage. And amongst that is mercy and charity on individual case-by-case basis. But I don't think it's charity to just say, overall, I don't charge as much, and somehow lump that under our faith issue. I don't agree with that. Hey, thank you for the call. It's a good discussion. I appreciate you bringing it up. You're a good person, obviously, a great man. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. By the way, it's always good to remember, money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money just buys clothes for your kids and keeps the lights on and puts food on your table, pays the rent. Money's not good or bad. But when you place it in the hands of a human, oh my gosh, you get to see how that human's wired, don't you? This is The Ramsey Show. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thank you for joining us, America. It's a free call anywhere in North America. If you want to talk about your life or your money, we're here for you. The phone number, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Pat is in Modesto, California. Hi, Pat. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Actually, it's Riverbank, California, but it's next door to Modesto. Does that count?
Does. I'll go with that. How can we help?
Okay. I got notice from my long-term insurance that their premiums are going up from $1,056 annually to about $4,000 in over the next few years. Also, the notice gave me like a number of options, and I bought a plan years ago when I was managing my dad's affairs, and he had a plan, and it was, it seemed like a good idea to me at the time. And I also went on your website and did the insurance survey and found out that you do indeed recommend long-term insurance, but I don't have kids. If I burn through my whole estate when I go to a rest home, who cares? And then you go on nutty nutty. What? So I need some ideas why I should keep an insurance plan. Now, the other thing with this is Genworth, my plan that I have, and they also included in the information that they have a C++ financial strength, and they have marginal ability to meet its ongoing insurance obligations. And so it's like,
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 67.
How much money do you have?
I have $600,000 in my retirement. Mm-hmm. I have a $42,000 investment that I have earmarked for a vehicle if my husband's currently in the rest home. He's been there for about a year. That if by miracle he gets better and comes home, I will need a vehicle for him. And so that's earmarked for that. And then I got about $38,000 in savings. Mm-hmm. The house is worth about $250,000.
Mm-hmm. How's your husband's health?
Not good.
I'm sorry.
He's improved a little bit over the last month. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like I'm in limbo. I don't know if he's going to come home or not.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. The average time spent nationally in a nursing home is 2.4 years.
Mm-hmm.
The average cost is a little under $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that means
I know that well.
Yeah.
And so I was not able to buy a policy for him,
right?
Because even 20 years ago he had rheumatoid arthritis, and that excluded him from coverage. So
you're paying for this. You're paying for this.
No, he's on Medi-Cal.
Oh, okay. Medi-Cal. Okay.
My income is low enough. My monthly income is low enough to where my share of cost is only $145. So
okay. Quality care is fine then.
Pardon?
The quality of care is fine in that program then, I'm assuming?
Yes, he is in a good place.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right, good. Well, I just want to make sure he's taken care of and you're taken care of, because that's what the whole discussion is really about, right? So if you didn't go on Medi-Cal, but it sounds like you could as well possibly go on that if that something happened that you need a nursing home. But let's just pretend, worst case scenario, you had to fund yours, and it took 2.5, and the average stay was 2.5 years. Well, if you went twice the average, almost 3 times the average, 6 years at $100,000, you would burn through your money, right?
Right.
The likelihood statistically of you doing that is close to zero, statistically.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because, I mean, the chance of you doing 3 times the average stay would be highly unusual. I mean, it'd have to be an unusual issue And of course, the other options you've got with $600,000 in your hand, you could do in-home care. You could do a lot of other things. So you can afford to drop this and to self-insure, given those numbers. Okay, 70% of claims right now on long-term care insurance are for in-home care. Only 15% of the claims are nursing home care. Now that's not Medi-Cal. I'm talking about private. Like your Genco proper, your Genworth deal, okay? And so this is what the typical thing is. And so the average, there's just lots and lots of averages you can look at on this, but the, you guys are living out a fairly normal situation. You typically, 75% of the ladies outlive their husbands. And so dad goes into the nursing home, cracks and scrambles a nest egg if he doesn't have long-term care insurance or, in this case, Medi-Cal, right? So I take it that's a California program that you're under. I'm not familiar with it, but it's
right. It's California's version of Medicaid.
Right. Okay. And some places the quality of care on a Medicaid nursing home is substantially lower. And so other states you might not want to do that, but in your case, you found a way that, or your situation is that he's getting quality care there, and likely you would too. And so you might not even burn through the money even then. But so do you take the chance? If I'm in your shoes, I probably do, given the numbers I just gave you. If you told me you had $100,000 to your name, I'd tell you get a policy. To make sure that you had coverage and to make sure you had care, which is important. But I mean, I don't think the chances of you burning through $600,000 are very high. To start with, we're probably not going to touch it at all with Medi-Cal. And even if we did, you got to go 3 times the national average in your nursing home stay. Which would be very unusual. I mean, you'd have a cognitive thing where your body didn't deteriorate. That's the type of a thing where you would stay 10 years, but that's the only, anything where your body deteriorates, not your mind, you're not going to make it 10 years. That's that's kind of cold, but that's how we all face. We're all not going to make it. So that's how we have to have these discussions, because this is about probabilities and statistics and trying to gauge that into common sense with our personal lives and where we stand, And so if I woke up in your shoes knowing what I just laid out here between Medi-Cal and $600,000, I'm not re-upping. If I'm in your shoes, I'm going to self-insure through this issue. Does that make sense to you?
Okay. It does, and it was a consideration because, like I say, so what if something happened and I burned through all the money and I had to go on Medi-Cal? Who cares?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't even have to burn.
I don't have kids. Yeah. I don't have anybody depending on or standing at the door waiting for my house or my money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why you did this, is to take care of you. That's why you have $600,000. It's why you save money, is so that you would have options and care and so on. It's very important. Good discussion. Thanks for joining us.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Research that we have seen in the last 30 years on DIY investing, do-it-yourself investing, tells us what we already knew, that when 2020 hit, people made a lot of mistakes. See, here's the thing. You need some investment professionals in your corner. They don't need to tell you what to do, but they're there to teach you and sometimes to talk you off the ledge when you go into panic mode. You absolutely need someone in your life. Hey, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I fix some stuff myself, but I don't pull my own teeth, and I don't even work on my own cars anymore. I don't even know what's under that hood. It looks like a big battery to me, but it's not, because I don't have one of those cars. So here, the problem is you get investing in the wrong things when you don't have help. You get caught up in trends. You make rookie mistakes. You make emotional decisions that are stupid. And that happens to everybody, unless they've got someone in their corner and that person can say, listen, calm down, breathe, ride the roller coaster to the end of the ride. Let 2020 be your wake-up call. Never again let your retirement be at the mercy of a global crisis. Go to RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor and create a rock-solid investing plan today. RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor. Lucian is with us in Akron, Ohio. Hi, Lucian. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, so I'll give you a little bit of context, and then I'll shoot the question out there. I'm a small business owner and been grinding it pretty hard for about a decade. And going into it, the business was a vehicle for me to get to financial independence. I wanted to have assets that kicked off passive income greater than my active expenses. And so I'm about 10 years in, and I owe $150,000 on my home mortgage, and that's my last debt that I have. And it's hanging over my head, and I'm getting kind of weary in the business. And I've got the cash in my business to basically write a check and pay off the home mortgage. And I'm tempted to do that, and I want to do that. But I have not yet this year invested 15%. And I have not yet this year put away, I've got 3 kids, so I haven't put away, I've been putting away $2,000 a year per kid. I haven't done that yet. So I guess my question is it wrong to just get this home mortgage debt off my books and off my conscience and just be done with it? Or is that the bad thing to do? Or should I, just stay the course and keep going ahead and not pay that off all at once and get that paid off down the line?
What will your profits be for 2021?
What will my business profits be for 2021?
Mm-hmm.
Probably gross income somewhere around $200,000, $210,000, $20,000, something like that.
So why could you not put 15% in your kids' college funding out of that?
So I probably could. I could. I have the ability to do it right now, and then.
No, I'm just saying it's not an either or. So now the second question is, you got $150,000 in your business. Is that what you told me?
Yes, sir.
And the mortgage balance is what?
$150. I got about $160 in the business. The mortgage balance was $150.
It sounds like you're going to have zero retained earnings or close when we do this. No money left in the business.
Yeah, I've got income coming in about maybe $30,000 in the next 30 days.
Yeah, that's part of your $200,000 income, though, right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want you to leave the business so skinny that it collapses because we left it cash poor. I don't know what your cash needs are around this business or cash fluctuation. Either you have a very, very high risk tolerance and you don't mind rolling the dice on stuff and you don't even flinch when you do it, or your business does not have much cash need.
Both. I'm a real estate salesperson.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you don't have much cash need. So $10,000 with $30,000 coming in wouldn't kill you. All right.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got reserves tucked away for personal
Yeah,
5 months.
I know, but I'm just saying, I didn't know whether you're running employees or what you had. I didn't know what kind of payroll you're running, and I don't want a hiccup to come in and take you guys out because we used all your cash. Because you didn't keep a liquidity position, and you need to do that from a business perspective, but yours is a little different model. So, yeah, I'm probably paying off the house.
Oh, all right.
Now, as a part of that, I'm also going to commit to using my income this year to going ahead and funding my 15% and funding my kids' college. But we may do that a little bit later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it's only 60 grand or 30 grand. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
To do that, and let's also rebuild and keep some cash in your business. It doesn't sound like it's necessary to keep $150,000 in your business, and so just keep pushing through. But congratulations, you're doing a great job. But make sure just go ahead and play through with it, because baby steps 4 and 5 generally should be cash flowed out of your budget, not out of lump sum cash. And, then baby step 6 is any cash we come into past those things in our budget, or in your case, we're taking some of your retained earnings in your business and going to pay off the house. That's more lump sum stuff at baby step 6. Matt is with us in Spokane, Washington. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Great. What's up?
Well, I'm hoping that you can help me out with a retirement ceremony my wife and I are working on. We're both 51 years old. We have 4 kids, 3 of which are going to be in college this year, and I have one that's a senior in high school. I have a previous retirement from the military, and I'm working a part-time job now. My wife is fully employed. We're doing all the right steps. I've listened to you for years and years. I've never actually read your books, so I don't exactly know all the steps and whatnot, but I think we've got a pretty good handle on it. We'd like to retire within the next year or two for good and just travel and live off of what we've invested and what we've saved. My question is, the only debt we have right now is our mortgage. We owe $212,000 on that. I have the money in one of my mutual funds investment accounts that I could cash out and pay that off. That account that I would use to do that with, though, was the one that I was primarily going to live off if we retired early until I turned 59 and a half, and I can tap into my Roth IRAs and my traditional. So I also have, we have money in the bank and whatnot. So I think I already know the answer, but I just wondered if that would be a smart move to go ahead and cash out that account.
What's your total nest egg, counting retirement and everything?
Well, let's see. In the IRAs, we have about $600,000. I've got $70,000 in the bank. There's $230,000 in that account. I'm talking about cashing out. And then, I've got some other miscellaneous accounts that we could tap into. One's $35,000. So we're looking total investments is like $1.2 million. Just some of it's locked up until I'm 59 and a half.
Right. So if we pay off the mortgage with this, how do you travel? Yep. How do you eat?
Well,
so 59.
I say we're talking about retiring, so I still have a military income, and we're both still employed.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you retire, if you pay off the mortgage with this, and you retire, what's your military income?
It's about $3,000 a month.
Okay. Somehow I don't think you're living on that. So how are you going to live?
Nope.
How are you going to live and travel?
Well, we're looking at using that, the other $200,000 that we have invested in stocks or whatnot, and living off of that until we can.
Oh, I thought you had only $200 in one place. So you've got $400 that's non-retirement.
Yeah, we have. So between Roth IRAs and traditionals, I have $600,000 in those.
Yeah, but you can't touch the Roth IRAs or retirement until you're 59 and a half. You already brought that up. So, yeah, I'm paying off the mortgage. Definitely paying off the mortgage in this case. Thanks for joining us, America. This is the Ramsey Show. Jason and Stephanie are with us in Austin, Texas. It says on my screen you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Way to go. How much have you paid off?
$150,000.
Awesome. How long did this take?
It took 13 years. We had a few setbacks, but we kept at it and did it.
Okay. And your range of income during that time?
70,000 and now 140,000.
Cool. What do y'all do for a living?
I am a construction engineering inspector.
And I'm a licensed professional counselor.
Excellent. What kind of debt was the 150,000?
It was vehicle debt, credit cards, and student loans.
Wow. All right. Well, tell me the story. What happened 13 years ago, and what does this journey look like?
Well, I was feeling sick to my stomach every time I was writing those checks every month for all those credit cards and all that debt. And a class was offered at our church, and I'm so grateful that we went, and we hopped in right away. I was a little quicker than Jason. He hopped on a little bit after me. I'm the nerd. He's the free spirit, and we started from there.
Very cool. And so you've been on a 13-year journey since then.
We have. We had a few setbacks. Jason had an injury at work, and then our youngest son was diagnosed with brain cancer at age 2, and so that created a whole other situation that we had to work through, and set us back a little bit, and we just kept powering ahead.
Yeah, a lot of things that were more important than getting out of debt. You got to take care of that baby. That's right.
That's
good.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And that, cancer is all-consuming. Cancer in a child is all-consuming. Yeah. Wow. You guys, that's amazing. So how's he doing?
He's doing great. He is 7 years cancer-free this November, so it's amazing.
All right. Very good. Yes. So you guys just kept, in spite of these overwhelming medical situations, just kept pecking away and finally chipped your way all the way through.
We did.
Yes.
That is an amazing amount of perseverance.
Thank you.
13 years. Wow.
Yes.
Most people can't watch 13 minutes of a television show without changing the channel.
I know. We call ourselves, we're like old school Dave fans.
Back before it was easy, yeah.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Well, you did. You powered your way through, which makes it all the more sweeter, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Indeed.
Yeah. How's it feel to be free?
It feels amazing. I think sometimes we sort of pinch ourselves because it doesn't seem real yet because it's been such a long time coming.
And
wow.
I listen a lot to your show, and it doesn't seem real yet because, like, when people do the debt-free scream, it's like, I'm going to be there one day. I'm going to be there, and now I'm here, and it's like, I mean, I'm just overwhelmed with joy, and a huge weight has been lifted.
Little surreal, then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Amazing. Yep. Wow. Well, well done, you guys. Very, very well done. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Tithing. 100% tithing. That's the key. We started giving. Our church did a tithing challenge, and our pastor told us if we didn't reap the reward and the blessing of tithing, which doesn't mean money. It comes in many different ways, that he would give us our money back, and we've never had to ask for it back for 13 years. And that's the ticket right there. We have faithfully tithed this entire time, and we do not regret it one bit.
That's a money-back guarantee you never have to write the check for there. That's
Absolutely.
A good one. I love that.
Yes.
Well done, you guys. Very, very well done. Very well done. You guys are heroes for continuing to push through on this. Absolutely amazing. Very well done. So proud of you. Excellent.
Oh, thank you.
We've got a copy of The Legacy Journey for you. That's the next chapter in your story for sure. And definitely go on and change your whole family tree. And an extra copy of the Total Money Makeover for you to give away, get someone else's journey started, because I'm sure folks have been looking over your shoulder and watching you as long as you've been doing this. And so just very, very powerful on your part. Very well done. So proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Jason and Stephanie, Austin, Texas, $150,000 paid off in 13 years. Couple of medical events during that time, to say the least, making 70 up to 140. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're
That is how it's done. Oh, my goodness. How fabulous is that? Very, very cool. John is with us. John is in Indianapolis. Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Doing great. I can't believe I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm glad to talk to you, sir. How can I help?
Well, my wife and I are in baby step 2, and we anticipate turning our retirement contributions back on January 1, 2024. However, her employer is giving her a one-time choice that we have to decide on right now. Option 1 is she can maintain her 401k match, which they throw in 3.5%, and maintain her portable pension account 100% provided by the company. Option 2 is she forfeits the pension, less the vested balance. But
I'm sorry, option 2 is what? You cut out when you said option 2. Option 2 is what?
Option 2 is she no longer has the pension option, but her 401k match goes up to 8%. So we're wondering if it's what your wisdom is as far as, do we keep the 3.5% match and the company pension, which, by the way, they throw in 5% of her gross per year. So the face value of option 1 is about 8.5% of her gross, or option 2 with the higher 401k match, which has a face value of 8% and more options with investments, but no pension.
What is
the pension account compounds at about 4% a year, so I mean maybe keeps up with inflation, but no significant growth. It's more risk free.
Yeah. I mean, the only way to do this properly is to get all the way down in the numbers, which we can't do on a radio call. If you sit down with a SmartVestor Pro, they can help you do that. But there's a couple, I think where you're going to land, I'm very sure where you're going to land is option 2 at the end of the story. And the reason is that when you die, 100% of that money is yours. When you die with option 1, the pension dies with you. If there's a survivor benefit, it dies with the second person to die, but it eventually dies. And so all of the other money is going into the extra 5% in option 2 is going into a good investment, an investment that works better than the pension works and doesn't disappear upon death. And so those two things generally will have you pick, all things being equal, the 401k. My guess is that they have also done the numbers, because most companies have moved away from pensions. And it sounds like this company's trying to move away from pensions, and so they're being generous with option 2 to get you to do it. Because most companies hate these things. They're a pain in the butt to deal with, and they don't perform that well. So no one's really winning at the end of the day on this. So I'm going to tell you, I think there's a 90% probability you're going to land on option 2, but without actually combing through every piece of the arithmetic, I can't be 100% sure on that, but I think that's where you're going to end up for those reasons. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Revelations 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me. Elizabeth Elliot said, when you don't know what to do next, just do the thing in front of you. Wow. Bill is with us. Bill's in Lansing. Hi, Bill. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, what's up, Dave? Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. How can I help?
So I have a question for you. So I am a massage therapist, and I left my job at the end of April. It just wasn't there wasn't a lot of healthy leadership going on there, and some other things that made me leave and go out on my own. And I'm a lot happier that I did now. But my question is, I had a simple IRA that my employer provided, and I only have about the balance of it right now is $1,700. So I'm calling to see, I know typically we don't talk about cashing out retirements and stuff like that, but I'm wondering if I should convert that over into a traditional, or if I should cash it out and then put it into my existing Roth as that lump sum minus the taxes that I would owe on it.
Well, you can roll it to a traditional and not pay any taxes on it. You can roll it to a traditional and then convert it to a Roth and pay the taxes on it, or you can cash it out. Those are really your three options. You can't really put it into another Roth. But it just creates its own, is what it is. Each account.
That's what I mean is sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Each account is just its own. That's all it is. So if you cash it out, I mean, really, the truth is that on $1,700, it's not going to change your life no matter what you do with it.
Right, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that I was missing, though. So.
Yeah. And so that's just you could go any direction you want to go. You're going to give the government a third of it if you cash it out. You're going to give the government a third of it if you convert it to a Roth. Or you're going to have to pay the equivalent of a third of it if you convert it to a Roth. So get ready to write an extra $500 check to the government if you convert this to a Roth. Wouldn't be a bad idea. It's always a great idea to get as much as you can in tax-free growth. And so that's probably what I would do with it. Is I would just go ahead and roll it to a Roth IRA and pay the taxes that come due as a result of that, assuming you have the money to pay $500 when your tax bill comes due. But it sounds like you're making money as a massage therapist now. Maybe you should be able to do that. Randy's with us. Randy is in Tucson. Hi, Randy. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my question is, my husband and I owned a commercial cattle ranch for 10 years, and we sold it last year. With the profits of the ranch, we were able to pay off all of our debts except for our house. But now our question is, we still own all of our cattle, and the money the cattle have brought in has overtaken what my husband makes at his day job. So his question is, should he continue on with his day job, or should we just do ranching full time?
Why did you quit ranching?
Well, we continue to ranch. We just sold the piece of property.
Why?
So we just moved our animals to a closer location.
Why? Why'd you quit? Why'd you sell it?
Because we had a huge payment that was getting really hard to make every year with the cattle market.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to be in the cattle business, you're in the cattle business and you can make money doing that. I don't have any problem with that. If that's his career and the direction he wants to go, have at it. That's not a problem at all for me. The thing is, I don't want you to make a decision to walk away from the, quote, day job based on, I don't know what cattle prices are doing. Are they unusually high right now?
They are right now, but like last year, for example, we've always steadily been around between $40,000 and $60,000 a year with our cows. And his day job right now, he only makes about $32,000 a year. Yeah,
so I don't want you to say we're going to make this decision based on prices that are unusually high that aren't going to stay high, because that would be that'd be a false set of information. Agreed?
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but if you think that the normal variation in beef prices, and I don't know what that is, I'm not an expert on that, but if you look at this and say, as a business, this is not one of these things where the supply chain's gotten screwed up and beef has gone through the roof, and I thought it had. I thought I heard it was really, really expensive right now.
Yeah. It is, yes.
Yeah, but don't make your decision based on those numbers because they're not going to stay that way.
Right, yeah, we understand that.
Okay. If you can make the decision going the other way, I'm not sure why you didn't do this in the first place. Did you have a day job when you sold the cattle ranch?
Yes, he's always had a day job, and he's always done this on the side. I think he's just nervous about leaving the stability of having a steady paycheck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's fairly steady at 40 or 50,000, but not at 100,000. Right?
Okay.
That's what you're telling me. So, I mean, a steady paycheck has to do with the quality of the business. Is the business steady? Is the business going to continue? And, you know, an unsteady paycheck that averages $60,000 a year versus a steady paycheck that makes $32,000 is a really, really good move. A really good move. So, yeah, don't be confused about what where stability comes from. Stability comes from his ability to earn in the marketplace, and that, he can do that as working in cattle, or he can do that working in something else. Kimberly's with us in Philadelphia. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my question, Dave, is I have a TSP account that I contribute to, and I've been contributing to the traditional for like 24 years, and also in the G fund the whole time, not knowing any better. I know now.
Okay.
So I wanted to know, now that I'm over 50, is it too late to switch over to Roth because I'm missing out on the compounding?
No,
I don't know.
It does not affect the compounding at all. To be in Roth or not to be in Roth. The only question is whether the pre-tax is better than the tax-free, and tax-free is still better. Because here's the thing: when you now, don't switch your just switch your future contributions, not the whole account. If you flop the whole account over to Roth, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. And
I just did it. Well, I didn't. Well, I didn't. I did the allocation change.
Okay, I'm talking about all the money that's in the account. What's the TSP worth today?
$250,000.
You didn't flop that to Roth, did you?
No, it's TSP. I'm sorry.
No, the TSP has a Roth option.
Yes, I just allocated everything. I just switched. What I did was I kept 5%. I was doing 32% for traditional. I kept 5%
Kimberly, stop.
Traditional because.
Kimberly, stop.
Okay.
You're talking about your contributions now.
Yes.
I'm not talking about your contributions going forward. We can even switch the 250 into how it's allocated into the C plan, the S, and the I. That's a different discussion than Roth. There's two different discussions. Okay. Discussion number one is Roth versus traditional. Discussion number two is the allocation of C, S, and I. We're going to allocate the whole thing, your future contributions and your current account, to 80% C, 10% S, 10% I. Okay?
Right.
Now, that's the contributions and the existing account. The future contributions need to be Roth. The $250,000 does not.
Okay, I'll change it back. I already changed it 2 days ago, but it's not going to come out of my pay until the 20th, the date.
Honey,
the
250 doesn't come out of your pay. The 250 is already there. You're still not understanding me.
No, sorry.
That's okay. Your future contributions that come out of your pay, when you put money into the TSP from today forward, should be Roth.
Gotcha.
The old contributions that are in there, the $250,000, should remain traditional. Otherwise, you're going to pay taxes on $250,000 freaking dollars. Don't do that. Okay? Leave that alone. That's the difference. That's what you've got to work through there. Hey, good call. Thank you for calling in. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Our thanks to James Childs, our producer, Kelly Daniel, our associate producer and phone screener. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
It's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free scream live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.